Good evening, people. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever the case may be, wherever you're tuning in to this live stream. Another special episode. I'm going to call every single show special from now on. I don't care. People, I sometimes think, why do I have to say special before every show? Because it is. Every show is special to me. Every conversation we talk about Liverpool is special to me. Every guest I have is special to me. And today I've got two of the specialists guests. If that makes sense. Specialists. You know what I mean. Two lads that I can call friends outside the football fan media circles. Of course, I've got Steve Hall. Of course, I've got Mo Stewart. Steve Hall has been absent. Steve Hall has been very, very busy. But Steve Hall has finally made time for my channel because it's the off-season. How are we, Steve?
I'm well. What it is, you film at like 10 p.m. and I'm usually in
normal times for human beings like you.
I've got two kids who that's sleep time, mate. That is sleep time. So nine's pushing it, but I'm all right. And there's no footy to knock me out. So yeah, we've been trying to get this sorted for ages. I'm glad I could finally get on.
It is. People in the chat, you already know what to do. Nice number of you settling in. Smash the like on the way, and you already know the house rules. You enter people's houses, and mostly you look to take off your shoes when you go into a nice living room. This is a nice channel, nice little stream room. Stream room. Did I say steam room? We don't need a steam room in this weather. We need a stream room. So smash the like one on your way. And of course, I've got the amazing Mo Stewart. Mo, how are we doing?
I'm good. I'm here to warn Steve that this is what happens on the show. He comes in and he just slags you off from the get-go. That's just how it is. But
Khanage by nature, Khanage by name, Khanage by nature.
Exactly. And I'm glad that I'm a specialist at something, though. I am glad that I'm here. And obviously, I know that we're going to enjoy our little chats as we always do.
Yeah, of course it is. Look, we love chatting about Liverpool, even though it's the off-season. And I wanted to start with you, Steve. Of course, mad, busy, hectic when the season's full going with your gig at Redmen, of course, doing amazing, great work over there. But what's it like for you in the off-season? It's pretty much not as hectic, but it's still hectic because of what we're going to talk about, transfers.
Yeah, it's not much different, to be honest with you, Chris. It doesn't change. Still busy. We're still plowing through it all. It's just different. It's just different content. I mean, we don't have to work as many weekends, which is nice. Get a few more weekends at home, but obviously still do a bit. We have a little bit of a rota system where one of us goes in every Sunday. But yeah, we're not too bad, mate. Not too bad. But we've got documentary coming out, which we're working hard on. The transfer stuff, like you say. So we tend to do. We tend to stagger times off, so we all get a little bit of a break at different times. Chris got in there first, and then Paul. They took senior privileges. Maybe they straight away. They were week season. They were gone. Aeroplanes, caravans, the lot. So
yeah.
Yeah, so I've been holding the fort down a little bit. Chris is back now. Paul's still away. Yeah,
when you going?
End of July, I'll have a bit of time. July, I'll get a bit of time off in July. So, just when all the pre-season games start that I can't bother watching, I'll have a little bit of a break. But mate, the good thing is, I know some people hate the transfers. I love the transfers. I really do.
Wait. Who hates transfers?
Mate.
Oh, they're out there. They're out there.
Are they?
Yeah. Trust me, I know quite a few of them.
Yeah,
really hate the transfers.
Yeah. It's more like I'll worry about it when they've signed. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't hate the concept of transfers. They just hate the churn. And
of course.
I mean, you've got to be in it for a little bit of churn, I think.
Clarence with a lovely opening. He says, Steve and Mo are a couple of great bold guests. Well, I could have joined the party, but I've decided to wear my Liverpool cap. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, it would look. But thank you for that nice, lovely welcome. For the Hip Hop Chronicle says this is going to be fun. It's always fun when we talk about Liverpool, and especially between mates. Nice, relaxed chat. I thought it's been a while since we catch up with Liverpool transfers. What are we doing? What do we need to do? Where are we? How are we? Mo, I'll start off with you. As you said, it's transfer season. It's mad season.
Yeah.
I guess, as always, when you do a bit of business nice and early, like we have with Alexis McAllister, we bring in a World Cup winner, probably the peak of his age, for a magnificent price. The thirst becomes even more for more.
Oh yeah.
The lust and the thirst. And straight away, the question, before even he wasn't even announced yet, people were bored and saying, forget McAllister. What's next? Who's next? But this summer, I'm with the crazy loony section of the fans, because we do need to do a lot of activity.
And this is the thing, isn't it? This is the key difference. It's like you can dismiss it as being like, oh God, people are never satisfied. But the reality is that we need more. And it's funny because Liverpool have been quite good at getting an early strike in the transfer window. They did it with Cody Gakpo. They did it with Ibu. I remember a couple of seasons ago, they both got in really early, obviously going further back. They did it. We were hearing about Fabinho on the way back from Kiev. So they like to get an early tackle in, which, hey, I'm very much for that. But in some of those windows, that was basically it. And we can't afford for it to be that way this time. So I get the kind of fervor around it. But I am confident that it isn't going to be it. Like, I know why we're all concerned, but I feel like they are going to... They know as much as we do that we need to do more. The question is, though, do we have the patience as a fan base to be able to allow these deals to play out? Because as we all said, this transfers is a season in itself. You have the football season and then you have the transfer season. Obviously in January they overlap. But in the summertime, I mean, we've already literally over the last weekend with Kylian Mbappe stuff. It's the Wild West. Stuff is coming out of here, there and everywhere. So it can be a little bit much to keep up with. But we need to be calm and to understand that things are probably happening that we don't know about, and we'll eventually, I'm hoping we'll get to the start of the season and we'll have a proper squad to deal with this season.
Yes, D, look, we already know we don't need to go back. There's no point looking backwards. We know we've made mistakes. Even Jurgen Klopp's alluded to making mistakes. We've had issues where we haven't done enough. And as a result, it seems as though it all starts off at the summer. It starts off on a bad note because our much heralded or much talked about pursuit of Jude Bellingham came to a shuddering halt, or whatever you want to call it. And I think it's universally accepted now. It's because of the fact that we hadn't done enough and we realized we've got to do far more than just Jude and maybe someone. And so therefore we had to put into that. The only way, in my opinion, and I haven't chatted to you about this actually, so it's good to get your opinion. In my opinion, the only way to get over that was to make sure we do substantial business to cover all areas of the squad that needed rejuvenating, not just the midfield. And so it happens that we need possibly a goalkeeper if Keller leaves, possibly a fullback, possibly a centre-back, and possibly a midfielders. It was always going to be that way, right?
Yeah, this means the window wasn't even opened. That's like, you know, we've signed a player. No one else has really done that per se. There's a few links around. So the Bellingham stuff, yeah, it was a blow. I mean, I don't know how much of it's PR-wise. Maybe he just chose Real Madrid. You got like that, you know. Yeah. Reports are he made his mind up in April, and fifth play. You know, I mean, like it's Real Madrid. So there's a lot of no one really knows the PR behind all this stuff. It might just be in that, and Liverpool have tried to ease the blow because teams do that before. You know, Man United and Chelsea tried to get Alexis McAllister, didn't get him, and then we're looking at other targets. Like they always do that. That's what it's a PR game, so you've got to play it a little bit. So you are right. Listen, Liverpool get a lot of criticism, and the ownership get a lot of criticism, and the manager. And for last summer, they deserved it because you know, look who we signed last summer. Not one of them so far has worked per se. You know, one's been injured and just gone along to Preston. We're going to speak about Carvalho might be getting binned off half a mellow. The less said, the better. And listen, the jury's definitely still out on Darwin Núñez. He is not a sure thing. So that window, and then that last window led into the season that we just had. There's obvious dots to connect. So Jurgen Klopp isn't stupid, and these guys aren't stupid. They know the score, and everything that we've heard from them is that, you know, they're going to be busy. They're going to be doing all what they can do. So I'm pretty calm about it. What I would say is that when Liverpool sign players, they usually get it right. The qualm can sometimes be they don't sign enough players, and I completely agree with that. Can you do one more? Can you go again? But the hit rate is phenomenal on transfers. Go all the way back. It's brilliant. I trust that they'll get the right players in. You know, Darwin, I think, is the biggest question mark. but he still scored 15 goals in his first season. You know, it can be worse. You know, Man United brought a lad in up front and couldn't hit a cow's arse with a banjo. So, like, the things can happen where, you know, I do trust them. I don't care about the money per se in terms of how much he spends are relevant. It's can you get good players who are better than what you've got, because that's the issue here. And I think, and I'm sorry I'm talking a lot here, but like I think we're hearing so many. I think we're hearing so many names, Grizz, is because unlike years gone by when Liverpool had a specific player they wanted, now I think they know they have to get positions in. So that's why there's Thuram and there's Kone and there's Vega and because there's loads of them. I do think there'll be a process of, in the past when we were that good, it was like, well, there aren't that many players who improve you. Shumani improves you, but maybe he doesn't or he doesn't or he doesn't. Now, I think the cupboard's a little bit bare, so I think that's why they're going to go for the top one. They can't get it, which, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if Liverpool have signed about 10 midfielders and they're going to just pick the 3 that they want. And if they can't get number 1, they go for number 2. If they can't get number 2, they didn't get number 1. It was Jude Bellingham, but Alexis McAllister might be number 2 and Thuram might be 3 and things like that. So I'm pretty chill about it. What I would say is that I understand the lack of, you know, some people aren't as patient, and I get it. You want the shiny toys and you want it now, and I understand it. But I do trust the team in the transfer market. I do think they're going to go and get enough players that we need, especially in midfield. But whether that's enough, time will tell. But I do trust that we'll get the business done.
I think I've said this so many times in terms of it's not the business that we do or complain about, it's the lack of it. Like we always seem like we've done the bare minimum. When we actually do business, as you said, our hit rate, our strike rate is pretty good. In fact, I'm trying to think of many better strike rates than us. We've got a very good success rate. But talking about last season's signings, Mo, David Lynch tweeted something really well today, really good today, and spoke about sort of last summer's transfers and the state of or the state of play with them, not the state of them, the state of play with them.
I mean, kind of a little bit that too.
Exactly. Ash sends in a super chat, says in hindsight, last 3 summer windows were so poor. Yeah, look, we can't really disagree. I'm not going to lie. You know, barring a few good ones, but we start off with the news today that Calvin Ramsay, one of the youngsters that was bought last season, is off to Preston on loan. Your initial thoughts when you saw this one? What did you think? What did you make of it?
First of all, I'm not surprised because he does need to play regular football. He needs to get a 35 to 40 game season under his belt. And I think that's more important than kind of being embedded into the Liverpool way, because although he's not been playing for Liverpool, he's been training and he's been in and around the club. So he should have a full grasp on what it is his job is to do as a Liverpool player. So now it's just to go out and play football. Feel more confident in your body after the injury. Start to build up some games. And obviously Liverpool have got a good relationship with Preston. The Seth Vandenberg loan worked really well a couple of seasons ago. So hopefully if he can have a similar impact playing, I believe, in the same position, then that can really work really well. One last thing I would say about the last 3 summer windows. 2021, Diogo Jota, Thiago, Ibu, Tsimikas. I think that was all right. The next 2.
No, absolutely. That one was a fantastic window, I must admit. But this Ramsay one, see, to me, it came as a little surprise, not a major surprise, a little surprise, only because, okay, so we've spoken about Trent's skill set, sort of the Trent inverted role position, call it what you want. And we've often said, what happens when he can't play there, when he's not going to play there? Who else can learn that role or play that role? Now, I'm not saying Calvin Ramsay is ready to step into the Premier League games when Trent's not playing, but I would have thought he's at that age, Steve, for me, where he's young enough for me not to be worried about playing lots of games. I still think he's young enough to be learning off the likes of Trent, Robertson, Konate, Virgil, and Alisson. And you know, like how Jurgen kept Curtis Jones behind without sending him on loan. Like there was loads of demands for Curtis Jones to go out on loan, but he kept him with the squad to learn. I just thought Calvin Ramsay would be given a season, or at least first half of the season, including pre-season. Because let's not forget, he's not even getting pre-season at Liverpool. He's actually gone.
No, he is. No, that's the thing. He is. He's staying here. Yeah, he's staying here for a bit, and then he's going. The thing is, Grizz, right?
Surely he's doing majority of the pre-season with Preston.
No, he's staying. He's not fit yet, so he's staying here until he's fit.
Well, okay, that explains it then. Yeah,
but we signed him. They found a back injury during a medical. They decided to go through with it because they liked him anyway. They were probably too far down the line not to pull out, and then he does his knee. So effectively, he's a year behind. Is that he's missed a year of football? Yeah. And like you said, I think the important thing for him is just go and get minutes under his belt. I don't think the stuff that you're on about learning about playing for Liverpool, that is young enough, that can come. He needs to play the matches. He needs to go and play the football because he was playing for Aberdeen. He was playing first team football for Aberdeen. So to go from that to a year of nothing, I think keeping him around, playing under, what's he going to do? Playing under 21s footy, that does nothing for him. And I think this is quite key as well. We signed him as a right back when Trent Alexander-Arnold was a right back. Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't a right back anymore. He's the box hybrid thing. If Trent Alexander-Arnold, I know, touch wood, hope it never happens, was out for a month, Calvin Ramsay wouldn't be playing that role. Like, a midfielder would probably be playing that role. You'd be more likely to see by Chetic or Henderson or one of those guys than you are to see even a Gomez or a Calvin Ramsay. It's a completely different thing. So I think that might play part into it as well. I think this goes, going back to like last window on Carvalho. When Liverpool signed Fabio Carvalho, they were playing a certain way. They had a certain style. They had, the big guns. There weren't many questions over. No one thought Fabinho was going to have their seasons. Fabinho just had. No one thought the drop off in other players was going to be so drastic. I think things have changed a lot, and plans have changed. So in like last year's window looked poor now, and it was poor because it just was. They should have signed the midfielder. They should have just signed the midfielder and done that. I've got no issue with the Nunes signing. To be honest, I don't know but I understood the risk and the gamble, but I think it was one way of taking. The young players, it's a young players. You hit rate on young players is what it is. You buy 5, and if 2 hit sound, you know what I mean. You'll make your money back on the others. But Ramsay just needs to go and play footy regularly, and he'll play every game for Preston pretty much. I think my guess is there'll be some, Ryan Lowe and Liverpool have a good relationship. There'll be a nod and a wink there. Listen, we're not sending him to you not to play. You're going to play him because if you're not, what's the point? I think Bobby Clark's about to join Preston as well, by the way. So yeah. I think that's about to happen. So there'll be another one there. Good links. He gets to stay local. I think that's important because of the medical things. I'm guessing Liverpool will want to be checking up on him as well. Yeah. So I think it makes sense personally. He needs to go and have a year of footy, build the muscle back up. And I mean this with all due respect to Preston. Let him get fit on Preston's terms. Let him. They can give him the minutes he needs to get fit. And then when he can come back in a year and we'll see what's what. So I've got no problem with it, to be honest. I think it makes perfect sense. And I think it'll do the lad good.
I've been convinced by you guys. It took me 7 minutes. You guys have convinced me that there's no problem with it.
Quicker than normal.
I'm okay with it now. I think I've just got a lot of faith in him, guys. Yeah. I genuinely think he's gonna have a very long and good career at Liverpool. I genuinely think he's got the attributes, the skill set to really flourish. And as I said, only time will tell, and let's see how it goes. But this is what we're here to give an opinion and sometimes a hot take. I genuinely think he's got the attributes and skills to play that Trent role, if needs be, going into the future. Mo, you was going to say something because I wanted to ask your opinion on wherever you wanted to add, give your opinion, but then also, what do we do now, though? Because Connor Bradley has come back from a successful loan that you guys have discussed. Bolton's player of the season.
Yes.
Attacking wing back, another young lad, 21, I believe. What are you doing? Are you keeping him, or do we dip into the market? Which is the big question everybody wants to know.
Well, I don't think even going from Bolton to back up in Liverpool straight away is going to be a fair jump. So I'd be surprised if we get rid of Ramsay and he becomes that spot. Whether or not they are planning to just use Gomez and as a Trent replacement, or whether we're going to see something like Steve mentioned where it's going to be one of the midfielders. The enticing and exciting thing about this window is because we don't really know what tactical plans are going to be plan A and plan B. So we don't really know what kinds of players we're looking at. So all of these links, I kind of feel a bit scattergun at the moment until you can start narrowing it down. And maybe it's like a jigsaw. Once we get the first piece, then you can start kind of thinking, okay, well, that complements that.
Makes sense for that, yeah.
So there's a lot up in the air. What I was going to say about Calvin Ramsay, I think when you think about the pressure that's going to be on him, even as a low money signing, to be someone who can play when Trent Alexander-Arnold, one of our biggest assets, isn't playing, I think I want him to feel a little bit more confident in himself and in his body before he takes that step. So Steve's 100% right. Let him rebuild at Preston, get some confidence in himself, and then come back and attack pre-season. With Conor Bradley, I do think it really does depend upon who makes offers for him. I think it probably will be another loan. I'd like to think it would be a Championship or even a lower Premier League loan. I think he did well enough at Bolton across the whole season to say that he's better than a League One footballer already. So I'd like to see that as his progression. And then maybe a year after you start looking at where he sits in the Liverpool canon.
What's your take on the Conor Bradley and the right back situation then, Steve? It does pose the question because obviously our auxiliary right back is gone now as well, Mr. James Milner. He was our go-to guy for anything to do with right back or left back, as the case may be sometimes. What do we do now? Is there a case of, because Mo's spot on, we don't know the tactical planning and thinking, because could it be a case of Joe Gomez gets those minutes as well and then bring in another centre-back who can also do that? I know we've been linked with Jurriën Timber, who would be ideal for that hybrid role. Or are you saying, or are you thinking, the club's thinking Conor Bradley, it'll be good enough?
I think, and this might be wild and people might show.
I like wild ones. Gone.
I can only imagine what the comment section is about to say.
Go on.
I think it might be Jordan Henderson. I think we're going to sign 3 number 8s, and Jordan Henderson's going to become James Milner in the squad. Where he just fills the gaps where he's needed. I don't think a right back. Trent's he's not a right back. He doesn't play right back, and that's just not what he's done. He's stepping into midfield and being a ball player, midfield player, and he defends at right back. There's just no way.
Straight away.
Yeah. I know, and I understand it, and I'm not condoning it. Listen, I'm not saying that's the ideal option, but I think that's what they're going to do. I don't think they're going to sign a right back, and I don't think they'll trust Conor Bradley with it. I think maybe Bajcetic is another option. I think it will be someone.
That's a shout.
I think it could be someone who's in the squad, Henderson or Bajcetic. I just don't think they're going to buy a right back. I think they might buy a centre back, and I think a centre back might leave. But I just don't think they're going to buy I don't think they're going to buy a natural right back, because that's just not the system. Mo's right. Liverpool could go into next season, shock us all again, and go back to 4-3-3. And we're like, oh yeah, well then a normal right back makes sense. But I just don't see that being the case. I think Trent's been so good at what he's done, and Liverpool have had so much success with it. They didn't lose a game when he was doing it, really. And in the league, they were excellent pretty much without it. Faded away a little bit towards the end, but for the most part, they won plenty of football matches, and he was an absolute superstar doing it. So I think my guess, I think they'll buy 3 midfielders, and I think they'll buy a defender, a centre back, and therefore it's what have you got within your squad who can go out there. That's what I think they'll do. I just don't see them buying a right back. I just don't see it happening.
How would Jordan Henderson feel about that, Mo?
Well,
this is the question, right, Mo? I mean, Jordan Henderson, it's one of those ones. Has he got a choice, really? Does he?
No.
Well, he should have played better last year, Grizz. If you want to keep us.
I mean, that's the really simple answer, and the even more simple answer. He's under contract, a contract that he absolutely battle tooth and nail to get. So yeah, he's gonna have to lump it if that's what happens. Personally, if that is the plan, can I just say it out now in public?
Say it.
No, because, and that's not a shot at Henderson as a footballer, it's just physics. If you're going to be playing in the right back area, what has been the thing that has given Trent Alexander-Arnold, a young man in his prime, the most difficulty? Balls over the top, chasing after fast wingers. Can we really see Jordan Henderson doing that? Like, there was the game, I forget which game it was, last season, where Milner came on a right back. I think it was the derby. Milner came on a right back and he was put on toast 3 times in the first 2 minutes.
Do you remember Chelsea as well, Mudryk?
Yeah, ugly. Like, I really don't want to see that with Henderson, because I feel like if you're asking him to do a right back, he can do some of the bits, he can fill in the area. But if you're asking him to match up against a left-sided attacker, good teams, intelligent teams, or even just teams with fast players are going to eat him up.
But you know the only idea, the only way, that makes kind of sense, and the only way is the way Trent plays it now. So Trent starts off in the back four in the right back area without the ball. Once we have possession, he comes in. And so Henderson would be comfortable in coming into midfield. That's the only area, and he'd keep the ball ticking. That's the only area that makes sense. I don't know. It's a wild take. We'll have wild take on the show. Always one in nice and early. Mine is good to go.
By the way, the other option, right, is that if Trent isn't available, we just don't play that formation. That might be it. And then Joe Gomez is just a normal right back. Maybe that's the option. What I would say is that I think that whatever Liverpool do this pre-season, and I know they're going to Germany, Jürgen's got his way, and pre-season's going exactly how it should be going, because last year again, that was another absolute shambles. Last year it was a joke. Just like they were they're getting battered by Man United because the players have been off the plane for half an hour. 3 lads get injured in the first training. Just absolute shambles. Jürgen's got his way where they're doing the German camp first and they're doing everything he wants. I do think they'll probably work on 2 or 3 different shapes now. And that's the worry when you go into this season with what we've just done. It's brilliant, but it relies so heavily upon Trent Alexander-Arnold that, again, he can't play every game, and he shouldn't play every game. And again, injuries, suspensions happen. I wonder if the other options, like you say, there's a plan B where, right, if Trent's fit, we do that, and if he's not, well, we'll just go back to the tried and tested, which might be wiser. In which case, I think that you'd probably be pretty comfortable with Gomez, and then maybe Bradley is like behind him, third choice. I don't know. That might make more sense. I was just thinking of who's in the squad now. If he did want to keep everything the same, I actually think Bajcetic is probably the best, most like for like.
I like that shout.
He's not quick really, but he's athletic. He gets about the pitch. He's actually really good on the ball. His technique's excellent. You can tell he's been raised in the the Spanish way of doing things. So he could be the option. But like Mo said, the fascination is in years gone by, we just knew what Liverpool did, and you knew the type of player. You could see it, and you could just do a tick list and go, can he run around loads? Yeah, sound. Does he get about the pitch? Does he press? Good on the ball, bang, tick, yeah, we're going to sign him. And before you know it, oh yeah, there he is. Every single one of us knew Luis Diaz could play for Liverpool. The second you watch them. Now, it's hard to know what Liverpool are looking for. And therefore, that's why it's not easy. You can name anyone to me. You can name any transfer, and I'll be like, you know what, you can kind of understand.
Make sense of it.
Yeah. And that's quite exciting, if nothing else.
We're going to go through some of the options and probably what I think Mo said earlier about the scrambled thinking or nature of the targets. Like, we'll get into that. Jericho sends in a super chat. He says, Liverpool, a club that never buys already made superstars. It feels like we are going to be the Atletico Madrid of England. Mo.
Well, first of all, Atletico Madrid won 2 titles, so
I'll take that.
Will be all right. Second of all, we don't play like Atletico Madrid. That's another really big difference. And third of all, and this is the point that I've kind of had to come to terms with a little bit myself in my head, the reason why Liverpool never buy ready-made superstars, we are always going to be in we're always going to be in the market for those players. We're always going to look like we want those players because we do want those players. What we are never really willing to do is break the wage structure to get them. That's it. That's what it is. If the wages for Jude Bellingham were the same amount from Liverpool and Real Madrid, I think he'd pick us. But he wouldn't because they could go that much higher. And for Liverpool, every time they come up against this wall, they're thinking, well, okay, so we got to pay this guy that much. How much is everyone else on? Who's up for a contract renewal soon? Who's going to be asking for X, Y, Z? So this is the thing that I've always thought about the Bellingham deal. If Liverpool were to get Bellingham and say we'd not gone as high as Real Madrid have gone, but we've matched him with Salah, say, around that area. Trent's deal's up this year. So that he's going to come in armed with that and be like, okay, I've built this house that we're all living in. So I'm going to need some of that money also. And for whatever reason, that seems to be the most fundamental part of their transfer structure that they just won't break. And so what it means is that you get close to these superstars, but we don't get them. We'll get to maybe 2-3 years down the line and say the players Liverpool bought in this window all became superstars. But we wouldn't be paying superstar wages for any of them right now. That's the point. You play well for Liverpool, and then you get your extension maybe 2 seasons in once they've seen that you deserve it. I believe that's what happened with Diogo Jota. I believe that's what's going to happen with Luis Diaz. That's kind of the way we do it. The first contract isn't a blow you out the water contract. It's a better than what you were on before, and there's room to move.
Look, as frustrating as it is, and we'd all want it to be, like some of the rich clubs, we all wish we had more money, not only as individuals in our private lives, but as fans of our football clubs, right? We wish we had more disposable income.
One thing, I just want to answer something from the chat. John O'Hare saying, I'm sounding like FSG's PR firm. I didn't say I liked the system.
I was just going to allude to that.
This is what's happening.
I was just going to say that, Mo.
There's a difference between being able to understand and explain.
Yeah,
and
this is it. Like this is it. This is Mo. We're not, Jono. We're not. I'm definitely, and I know Mo as well, and Steve as well. We're not saying this is the way to do it. We're saying this is the card that we're dealt with, and so therefore we have to sometimes accept it or do something. No, do something about it. So everyone always says, no, we need to do something about it. What exactly?
Listen to me.
What exactly can we do about it? I wish, as I said, I wish in my own personal life I could have more disposable income. I wish our club had more disposable income.
Right.
I wish it's just the fact that we have these owners who are unfortunately at the moment so far unwilling to change their working model. We thought and we hoped and we believed, just because of what they told us, there may be investment, there may be changes to the way they operate. So far, there's no indication of that. And that's all and I think that what Mo was saying, that this is the card we're dealt with, and we have to just deal with it until there's change of ownership or investment is brought in. Just a couple of more super chats before I get Steve's opinion on that. Pimp in Distress says, hey, chat, are you asleep? Hit the likes, people, for our quality panel. Big up. Thank you very much, my friend. Chris says, LFC without Coutinho money is looking spooky in the market. Well, look,
he did spend £80 million on a forward last year, like they did. Like, I'm with Mo. Like, Liverpool's wage bill's really high. It really, like, if you look around the league, Liverpool do pay the wages. What they won't do is, they broke them all. They were reluctant to do it with Mo Salah, really.
Yeah.
It took a while. It took a while to get the Salah deal done. I like you say, it's just their model of doing things. They're not estate owned. It's not. The club sustains itself, and that's just what it is. And there's pros to it and there's cons to it. And some of the pros are really good, and some of the cons are really, really frustrating. It's just their model of doing things, and there's no point I don't know, it just kind of is what it is. So when you're looking at things like, we don't know, and I understand them looking at the chat here, and there's a lot of people going, this and this. Like, we don't know who they're going to sign. We've got no idea what this window. You can't judge a window until it's closed. You just can't. And you'll be you'll be judged upon what you did, and Liverpool are being judged on what they did last summer, which was absolutely rubbish.
And we admit that, and we've called it out.
They admitted it. They admitted it.
And so they have got a lot to do. Jurgen Klopp said we've got a lot to do. Players are suggesting they've got a lot to do. Virgil van Dijk mentioned it. We're going to get on to Konate's comments from tonight's interview he's done with RMC. He's admitted we've got lots to do. FSG are the ones that will do it, and all eyes are on them. There is pressure on them. People are saying, oh, we need to put more pressure. Each one of us, me on a small platform, you guys on two of the hugest Liverpool platforms, Redmen TV, Anfield Wrap. I watch you guys and have been watching your platforms for ages and years. Everyone is unified and adamant that a lot needs to be done. Not one of your platforms and my small one are suggesting otherwise. Oh, it's all good, relax, everything's fine. And no, we got so much to do and we have to do it. So yes, I do get the apprehension for the first time, and I do get the mistrust because they've kind of deceived us a couple of summers where we're gonna go big. And I don't mean big on one player, huge signing. I can't give a shit. I'm like Steve. I can't give a shit how much a player costs, as long as you bring in the right player. Yeah. And we start off, look, Mo, I'll come to you. We know we lost Milner, Ox, Keita, and who's the other midfielder? Bobby.
Oh, you mean Arthur?
Arthur. Let's talk about the midfield first. We'll get into it. Let's have a section of it. So the four midfielders. Now, some would argue we've already replaced their minutes by McAllister. Right, minutes wise, if you talk about playing wise, because what did they contribute right last season? But we know that's not how it works.
No.
Steve suggests we need to bring in two more. I think you meant 3 in total.
Yeah.
Mo, are you of the opinion that we most certainly need to bring in another 2 on top of the capture of McAllister?
Definitely, 100%. I think we're in a situation now where we need to assume that Henderson and Thiago in particular are kind of luxuries. Like Henderson will get his games, his minutes, maybe specific games, specific opponents. Thiago, obviously, he's still a quality player. Obviously, he hasn't played in this new system yet, so we don't know how he'll work.
Hot question. Just Thiago, hot question. You get an offer for about 20 million for Thiago Alcantara. It's not a hot take, it's a hot question. It might be controversial.
It depends. It depends what I'm gonna. If I've already got 2 midfielders in the building, probably not. But again, it depends. I think for me, the way I'm treating Thiago is that if he's there, it's a bonus.
But where's he playing in this new system? This is my concern in my head. If we're all suggesting that this is probably the go-to system, this 3-2-2-3 or 3-box 3, whatever, square 3, whatever you want to call it. Does Thiago fit alongside Trent? Does Thiago fit in the 2-8s?
Well, I mean, I feel like if he's going to fit anywhere, it's going to be alongside Trent, because maybe 5 years ago he'd have been perfect higher up, but those days are gone now. But again, I think he's got the intelligence to be able to make it work for him, because let's face it, he's never been quick. If he is fit, then I'll back him to be able to find a way to make it work. But I don't think that was ever going to be plan A or even plan B. I think it's going to be a case of, like I said with Henderson, specific times, specific games, maybe even giving someone else a rest. But I do still think we need 2. I think we have to recognize the fact that from where we were, even maybe February, you could almost say that the form of Bajcetic over that period and then Curtis towards the end kind of added to our stocks, as in these are 2 players who I feel like earn themselves more minutes next season with the way they played this season. But even that withstanding, we still need another 2. I think whether or not we play the way we used to or in this new way, we seem to get a lot of injuries to midfield players. So we need to have enough to cover for those for a change. So, yeah, I would very much be of the opinion of we need 2 more midfielders. When it comes to defenders, it gets a little bit more interesting.
we'll stay on the midfielders, and obviously names being branded out. Steve, we already know the names on the social media sites or the general media itself. Probably the one on everyone's lips and everyone sort of refreshing their pages and their favorite journalists' pages to see when or if we get Khephren Thuram over the line. Ibu Konate, people have made us aware in the chat that has said something or has spoken about quite a variety of things. And one of the things he says is, speaking on, obviously he was asked about Thuram, and he says, I would be very happy if he came to Liverpool. I would take him under my wing and I would do everything to make him progress and become the player he wants to become. He actually goes on to say a bit more in terms of Khepren's a brilliant young player, etc., etc. It's about time he goes on to another level, and if that's Liverpool, I'm paraphrasing, but if that's Liverpool, that would be amazing. Steve, I know you've done some brilliant shows with the brilliant Neil Jones in terms of journal insight and looking into various targets. What have you learned about Khephren Thuram in the time that you've been looking him up and listening to people about him? And is he the profile of player that we need? I'm going to very quickly give you my opinion on him. I think the moment Mason Mount move died or whatever, I think Khephren, just like we're talking about targets, number 1, number 2, number 3, in my humble opinion, I think Khephren Thuram has jumped to number 1 in terms of the Mason Mount role. Yeah,
it's certain. Listen, I know a lot of people, again, hot take number 2, maybe. I think Mason Mount would have been brilliant for Liverpool. I think he was exactly what, I think on that right-hand side. My worry is that I like Thuram. He's got the capability to do everything. He fits the profile, the age, the fee, the ways, like Mo said before. The fact that he'll become the star on your watch and you get the best years of him on a relatively cheaper contract, and then you reward him. That all makes sense. I do think there's a lot of goals now in midfield, and I wonder in general who's going to be the one who adds them. I know McAllister scored a few last season for Brighton, but he did it. And a lot of that was obviously penalties, and I don't think Mo Salah's going to give the penalty taking duties up. So that's the one thing. But I agree. He looks like the one who's the most likely and the one where the most noise is coming from. You referenced Jody with Neil, and Neil, like, I know the Liverpool-based journalists get a real hard time off some people, right? They really do, like to Neil and James Pearce and stuff, because they're always dismissing things or they're always passing on bad news. But like, you're echoing what Liverpool are telling you. I was like, well, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing, because that's the job. They ask Liverpool for us, and then they report what Liverpool tell them. Now, Liverpool might be lying to them, but like that's their job. They're not going to go out and go, well, I spoke to Liverpool and they've said no. So that's all they're just reporting. That's all that is. With the Thuram stuff, apparently the feedback you're getting is, oh yeah, it looks like there's something in it. There's some, Liverpool will never go, yes, we're signing him, but they tend to, he's a good player, he's one of the options, yada yada yada. And that's why stories always come from abroad, because it's agent driven, or it's the selling club are trying to drive a price up or whatever. That's just how this thing works. Like, that's just the business of it. I think the Liverpool journalists get a real hard time for no reason, really. Like, Neil Jones spoke to Liverpool the other day about Pavard, and Liverpool said no, not interested. He's not a target. You can put that out. He just isn't. And then that gets reported by him and Ian Doyle and James Pearce, and then they get abused for it. It's like, it makes no sense. It's a bit crazy, but that's just the world we live in. So on the Thuram stuff, it definitely feels like there's legs in it, doesn't it? It would have been shut down a lot by now, I think, if it wasn't a thing. The issue you've got is, like, there isn't a release clause like what McAllister was easy, because there's a release clause, sound, the job's done. All you had to do was convince him to pick Liverpool and say what you want about Jurgen Klopp. When he gets on the phone, he tends to get players to Liverpool, like more, unless Real Madrid are on the other end, in which case you might have. Yeah, there is them, yeah. But in general, like that, he does do well at that. So by all accounts, it looks like Thuram's up for it. It's just, can they do the deal with Nice? And yeah, that can take as long as it takes. The interesting thing with Thuram and even Kone in the same boat is that they are at the under-21 World Euros. Is it Euros? Yeah. The final's July 8th. So if they get to that, there's no way they're not going to be in the team day one, because they're going to have a break. Yeah, going to give them a few weeks off, and then he'll join pre-season. They'll probably go to the tour and then see where they're at. So like, that doesn't mean anything in terms of like day one, but in terms of the profile, he ticks every box. I mentioned before, you can half suss out a little. You know, Pavard and Thuram. It didn't take long to figure out which of those Liverpool would like. He's 27 at Bayern Munich and he wants to leave to get regular game time. Here's a lad who's 21, 22 at Nice, wages. It just made sense that smells like a Liverpool transfer. It feels like a Liverpool transfer. My guess, again, this is just guessing, is that Liverpool will sign Thuram. He will be one of the others that come in, and I don't know who the third one will be. I do. There's so many names out there. I just don't know. My thinking on this, and again, sorry, I'm talking a lot, is that they've got there's just a list to go through. Who's number one? McAllister, right? We'll get him, and then we'll get who's next. It's Thuram, right? And then it's not him, and then we'll move on. And that's why I think David Lynch wrote this today. Defenders going to be the fourth one because they're going to see which midfielders they got, how much money they spent. Do they have to get an English player because we've sold Joe Gomez, or a bid came in for that we couldn't refuse for whatever, or whatever, and then they'll get to it. So it is going to be a process. I think, again, I should go back to the patience stuff. But in terms of Thuram, the player, the only thing I think is missing is the goals. And if he is the one who comes in, and I hope Liverpool do sign him, I would quite like the third one to be someone who scores more, who looks like they've got more goals than them. Curtis, at the end of the season, showed a bit, but he scored 3 times. You know what I mean? Like, he scored 3 goals, 2 of them in one game, brilliant. But there wasn't, like, Harvey Elliott should score more than he does, doesn't score enough. Thiago doesn't score. Henderson never scores. Fabinho doesn't score. So those 2 players in that, it's effectively a front 5. I think they need to be able to get goals and assists. Yeah. And that's the only thing. Again, Thuram could develop that. He's playing for Nice. He could come to Liverpool and just do it, and he's got it in his locker. But that's why I was excited about Mason Mount. Double goals, double-digit goals, double-digit assists. He did offer that threat. So that would be my take. I would hope the third one, if it is Thuram, is someone who scored more goals.
Mo, I just want to go. I was just going to say, we need 2 guaranteed starters, Matthew says, and one that can grow. Thuram, which category for you does he get into? Because to me, does he get into is he the guaranteed starter? Because McAllister's a guaranteed starter, so put that to bed. The other one now, do we need a guaranteed starter? Is he a guaranteed starter, or is he one that we're going to allow to grow?
Well, I disagree with Matthew. I don't think there's going to be such a thing as guaranteed starters in Liverpool's midfield next season. And that's the point of getting 3 who come in. I think 2 players who are good enough to start and guaranteed starters are 2 very different things. So 2 players who are good enough to start every week. So, for example, you put them in the team and then say 3 to 4 months later, you realize they're playing all the big games. That's what I would call a starter quality. And yes, I do think Thuram's in that. I also think that Thuram can develop goal-scoring ability, and I think McAllister has it. I think the reason why his numbers weren't as high is that he was playing deeper. He was spent a lot of time playing deeper, and let's face it, the guys in front of him were scoring lots of goals. So it was like, I don't really need to. He was chilling out there, playing the pass to the guy who played the pass to the guy who scored. So he was doing what the team needed him to. But when you saw him in finishing positions, he put the ball away. So if he is going to be in more finishing position for Liverpool, as we expect, I expect him to get more goals. The other thing, something I said on the wrap, which I'm going to keep banging this drum until it basically bursts.
Manifest it. Go on.
If we're playing the box, and if it's going to be a square box as opposed to a diamond, I think there's a chance that Diogo Jota is one of those players as well, rather than for one of the front 3. I think he has the ability to be in those little positions, and he's got goals. So if you're playing, for example, a Diaz, a Nunes, and a Salah, and then you have, say, a McAllister or a Jones on the left-hand side, you could find your way to having Jota in the mix as well. Because he is an intelligent player. He's someone who's appreciative of the space around him. And his passing is actually starting to improve. So if you want to get more goals from that, I think he's an option there. In terms of who the other midfielders we're going to get are, I honestly don't know. Like, I've been on the Khanage train for a while, so I'd be very pleased to see us get him.
But this is where we're going to get into the profile of player. Now you're suggesting Jota. I thought maybe Gakpo, because we've seen
Gakpo. Gakpo's the more obvious one for playing as a midfielder, but I look at the way that all of the things that people are saying about what we need from this guy who's playing on this kind of box. He needs to be able to be a good on the ball. He needs to be able to be play a through pass. He needs to have a decent amount of pace and a goal threat. Jota has all of those at his best. I'm not saying he's going to play there all the time. I'm saying that he's going to be an option for that position. So if we're in a situation where, like Steve says, we're not getting enough goals from the guy, maybe Thuram is playing there a lot. He's not really scoring a lot of goals. Or maybe we're playing against maybe a team with a really weak defense and we're literally just thinking we can go in and smash them. Then that's when you put Jota in.
SMJ shouts at us because he's putting capitals. I automatically think people are shouting.
Well, technically, Virgil's shouting at us if you look at the picture.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Thuram has to be next. And if Virgil says it like that, I believe Thuram will be next. I believe Thuram will be our next player in.
I was jumping there because Gabby Vega's the one I think who's obviously a Celta.
Well, this is exactly what I was going to say to you, Steve. I was literally going to come to me. See, now this is the profile confusion. So Mo's been on the Kone train, right? So if we're saying, okay, I am saying now that Thuram will be our next Liverpool player, and I think he's going to play not predominantly, but I think he's going to be used as one of the eights. So one of the eights we've all discussed and we all agree we need our eights to score goals this season. We can't just rely on the front three this season. We need more. We need our Gundogan and our Kevin De Bruyne's, right? Basically. And we're saying Curtis Jones has the ability, but he needs to be more consistent. We're saying McAllister has shown he can do it. We're saying Thuram has got the ability and can do it. Now, the other two targets I want to discuss with you guys are contrasting profiles of players, or even three. We'll add Lavia to the chat, right? So Romeo Lavia and Kone, I think, are one of a profile where they're more all about ball winning, energy, tackles. And then you've got Viega, I hope that's how you spell his name, Gabri Viega, Mason Mount that we spoke about and that's fallen through, and Thuram. Now, we've been strongly linked with Gabri Viega as well. If we get Thuram, Steve, like I believe we will, I'm very certain we will, then what's the thinking behind chasing Viega over the other two? Surely it's got to be one of Kone or Lavia to be the DM, not DM per se, but you know what I mean, the ball winning, the more defensive minded centre midfielder. Do you get what I mean? It's scrambled, isn't it?
You might sign both. Like I don't know. I'm with you, mate. Like I say, what you got to remember is that things are fluid in the market. So there might not just be 7 attacking midfielders they like. It might be they like 2 or 3, and if you can't get him, well, what we'll do, we'll bring the DM in, and Stefan Bajcetic becomes an 8. Or there's always, like Mo said before, it's the puzzle thing. It's just fitting who you can get and what you can get as well. So my personal belief is I was of the opinion that Kone was if he didn't get Thuram. And I know they are different players. I understand
That's
that.
my thing.
They are different players, but also in terms of an age and a wage and a fee, they're similar in which case you go somewhere else for the other one. So it might be if we get Thuram, then we've got X amount left to go and buy a defensive player. We just don't know, and that's why I don't do my own head in about it, because we just don't know what the plan is. All I'd say is they need to get at least 2 more midfielders, and then we'll see what we've got with them. I would like one of them to be someone who scores goals, and if it's not, it's not. But I think, like you say, we could sit here until the cows come home thinking we haven't got a clue. We just don't know what Jurgen's plans are. We don't even know. No. We don't know the formation. We don't know how we're going to play. Who's first choice? Is Jota the left winger? Is Diaz the left winger? Is Nunes the right winger? Is Gakpo the strike? We just don't know any of this. That's what makes it. It's quite exciting, but it's also quite frustrating as well, because you can do your own head in with it, because you're right. You know, Vega.
All those predicted lineups. You know what I mean?
But yeah,
for the opening day predicted lineups.
But there's the excitement of that, but also the ability for us all to look stupid.
As often is the case.
But the other thing that I think we need to bring into the mix as well is the fact that it's really hard to kind of look at midfielders for what they do at the moment for the teams they're playing at and say that they're going to bring that into this Liverpool team, because How many times have we seen we sign a player and it's like, oh, I didn't know he was going to be doing that. And that's what happens. So the only real, if you look at Thuram and Kone, for example, like you say, they are different players. They exist in different areas of the pitch, but they are both good. They've both got good engines. They're both good at blocking passing lanes, intercepting the ball. They're both very good at shielding the ball and recycling possession. And they're both very good at dribbling and progressing the ball up the field. So rather than saying I want an 8 who's going to be doing X, Y, Z, if you're just looking at it from the perspective of what can they do, what are they good at, and how do we get that into our midfield? So it could be that maybe Thuram's been doing that up there. Now he's going to be doing that over here.
We've got a history of having him. We've got a history of utilizing players' attributes and fitting them into what we need and what Jurgen Klopp needs. We've done it so many times.
And he might not even know until he's got them all, until he's having pre-season.
Yeah,
like, okay,
I mean, he'll have an idea of, okay, I like the way he may have seen something in Thuram. I like the way he does that, and then had a vision. Him and Pep Lijnders saying, right, we want him to utilize. We want to utilize that attribute, that skill set he's got into this formation. So you're right, and I've said this as well so many times that it doesn't have to be a DM per se who's been playing DM. So, for example, Ugarte is primarily just a DM. Like, he can't do anything else. So, you know, I don't mean let's just go out and sign a DM that's been playing DM all his life. Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Trent we're seeing now. Even Jota playing through the middle. He didn't really play at. How many players' positions have we changed to suit our formation the way we play? And this is why I think the combination of Kone and Thuram's skill set added with McAllister's already purchased pretty much covers everything that we need in the midfield, or what we've been crying out for the last years. Legs, energy, aggressive ball winners. Even McAllister showed in the World Cup for Argentina. He's very aggressive. Like, he's not the tallest, but he's very aggressive. And Kone 6'1", Thuram 6'4". You know, this is the kind of profiles that I think we are looking towards. And as you guys said, at the end of the day, we don't really know what the plans are going forward in terms of the formation. We may revert back to the 4-3-3, like Steve says. Like, you know, it is the formation that he's used for the last 5-6 seasons, whatever. Okay, he's tinkered with it, and it's shown us great signs. But let's not get carried away. It wasn't perfect. It was far from perfect. Like, there was a lot of games where I thought a better attacking team would have torn us to shreds there. By
the way, and I think this is important as well, is like, I do think they've got a plan. Like, we don't know what it is. Because from the outside looking in, right, it looks scattergun. It really looks, well, you got, like, links come from so many places. Yeah. It can be as simple as getting on the phone to an agent and going, what's Kone in? Could we get him? And then once you know the answer, then you can go back and put it in your plans. But that agent then goes, well, I've had a phone call with Liverpool, and they said that things change so much. But I trust that they've got a plan, whether they can get it all
execute it.
Yeah, that's it. But I don't think it's haphazard. I don't think it's Chelsea.
No, it's not Todd Bowley. It's not Todd Bowley levels. Yeah,
I think if anything, it's the opposite.
It's the opposite. We're far more calculated and structured, as shown with the McAllister chase.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's not Hazard either, by the way.
My very own Nerdbeats, who helps me out a lot with the channel, says, can LFC survive in this new world order of state-owned clubs? If Arsenal get Rice and Caicedo, 180 million, shows their intent to. Fair for LFC, in my opinion. I'll just very quickly answer this one. We've been watching or been involved in football and listening and reading where money's always been part of it. Always. Man United, Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Blackburn. Teams have always spent millions and millions and millions with smart recruitment, with clever recruitment, and of course, a level investment. You can always survive. You can always compete. Don't be sort of so down about teams spending X, Y, and Z. Teams always spend X, Y, Z. How many Italian teams, Spanish teams have spunked millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of pounds in the past? If it's Arsenal now, fair play to them. Don't get me wrong. Rice and Caicedo are two stunning acquisitions. If they pull them off, they haven't. They haven't got either yet. Rice they will get. If they get Rice and Caicedo, good luck to them.
But it is a question for you, just a little offside to that. So, are you playing them both together in midfield?
Rice and Casado?
Yeah.
I assume so.
And then what? Odegaard? That's the three?
Yeah.
All right. I can see a world where that works. I can see a world where that doesn't work.
No,
But,
I mean, on paper, and we know football's not played on paper, by name, for what they've done for their previous clubs, like we've discussed, they've been magnificent.
Also,
but how many times have we seen for previous clubs and fitting them into a complete different way of playing or different philosophy in Arteta?
And I just think that although obviously there's going to be upheaval in the Arsenal midfield with Xhaka leaving anyway, I think bringing in two starters with high pressure and high fees into central midfield at the same time, it's tough. It's tough.
It is tough.
Sam says, yeah, to answer the question, sorry, I think it will be hard to have sustained success where you win 4 league titles on the run. And I think that is going to be tough when the state-owned clubs are about. But we got told before, like the Atletico Madrid stuff. I think you can do that. I think you can have a year or two where you beat them and then they react by spending, and then you fall down, and then you have to go again. I think that's the world we live in now. Whether United and Qatar, Saudi Arabia with Newcastle, we don't know how it's all going to pan out. But like, you can, because Liverpool have already won with
fine margins, man. How many times have we discussed fine margins with us? We've been so close to equaling Man City's success of the last 5-6 years. Fine margin, 2 Champions Leagues, 2 last day league titles. So we wouldn't be having this conversation. We would be saying we wouldn't be having these doubts, I should say. We would be saying there is ways you can compete. There is working models, and we are a prime example of a working model that can compete. It's just these fine margins. And people will say, well, you don't need to be state-owned. That answers the question. You don't need to be state-owned to be able to compete, because only...
That guy brought Arsenal on state-owned.
There you go, yeah. And they're doing well, yeah.
What I'd say is that, like, our margins, our margins are thinner. Man City can make more mistakes and get away with it, and state-owned clubs can make more mistakes and get away with it. That's what that does to you. But of course you can win. It's just harder. You've got to be, like you said, from top to bottom, you've got to be perfect. And for a year, Liverpool haven't. Right from the very top, Liverpool have been a shambles for 18 months. They have. And crack started last season. Last summer was a joke. And then are the owners selling? Are they not selling? The sporting director leaves, and then the next one leaves, and then the data analyst leaves, and the physios, and they had a year where you have to be perfect. Liverpool with the exact opposite. Yeah. It's a credit to Jürgen. I think that he got them to 5th because it was an absolute shambles. So that's what not being state-owned does, or not being I'm fine with Liverpool. I don't want Liverpool to be state-owned. I know some people disagree. That's fine. That's my personal opinion. But I think you can win, but you've got to be the bar is so high. Like, you have to be perfect almost, and that is hard to do. But I do believe it can be done.
Yeah, and also one thing I'll say to that: when you do win in those circumstances, it means so much. Honestly, it just feels like you feels like you're in your own kind of fairy tale and you're slaying the dragon. And I don't know, maybe it doesn't feel that way in previous seasons when we were the dominant team and winning was easier. But I know when you've absolutely had to scale a mountain and be as perfect as we've had to be in the times that we've won our trophies, when you do get there, then it's just an unbelievable feeling. But yeah, I would like it to happen a little bit more often. I ain't gonna lie.
Of course we would. Midfield we've discussed. Centre-back or stroke defender right back now. Steve, do we do something there? Do we need to do something there? I believe we do. I believe Joel Matip is no longer capable of playing at the highest level for Liverpool. I've said it. I love him. Absolute legend. What a character. What a personality. And what a player. What a free signing. All of that. Legend. For us to compete with the likes of Man City, Newcastle, Arsenal, I think we need a better third choice now. If Konate and Virgil are to be our first choice, Steve, I believe we need to bring in a younger Joel Matip, so to speak.
I don't think either of them are good enough, to be honest with you. Matip is more injury related. You know, he doesn't stay fit long enough. I don't think Joe Gomez is good enough personally to be a centre back at this point in time. I've kind of given up the hope with Joe. I hope he proves me wrong, but
same.
I've got no faith in it. But I'm with you. I think they do need to do it. I would like one of Gomez or Matip to leave, and then the other one is the fourth choice, and then you buy someone else. I know ideally you'd like them to be left-footed. I've seen the links, that kind of stuff as well, because maybe they become your backup to Robertson in certain games when you want to play a more conventional back three. So yeah, I'm with you, mate. I do think they need to buy centre back, and if they don't, what you're doing, you're pressing that gamble button again. He gambled on the midfield last year, and it failed him because I remember Jäger in that press conference, and if I had I'd have been ripping it out, because he was like, and he went through the names, and he was like, Thiago, Keita, Chamberlain, and I was like, always injured, always injured, always injured. And it's the exact same as centre back. And I include Ibu Konate in this.
Yeah,
he's missed a lot. He had a lot of time out injured. He had injuries at Leipzig and he had injuries at Liverpool. Gomez injured quite often. Joel Matip injured quite often. The season when we nearly won everything was the season that wasn't the case. And then he reverted back to type last year. So ability-wise, I've got concerns over two of them. Injury-wise, I've got concerns over three of them. So yeah, I would. And I think, you know, if you kick the can down the road, which we did with midfield, it'll eventually bite you in the arse. I would like Liverpool to be a bit more proactive with it and learn
that we can't do the same. See, the thing is, what annoys me is we've done fine with the attack. We may argue about the quality of the replacements of the Salah, Bobby Firmino, in terms of the Jota, Nunes, Gakpo, predominantly, but we've been proactive. We need to be proactive with the defense as well, Mo.
Yeah, it's easier to make a case for attackers because you need goals. You always need goals. Goals win games. Goals win titles. Goals. Now, obviously, if you're building a team, you need both. But if you're a team manager or even an owner, it's like, if I can only get one, give me the goals. So that was always going to get sorted first. I agree with you guys on Joel Matip. I think now is the right time. It's a shame because, like I say, I think we'll love him, but I just think that it's beyond him. With Gomez, it's slightly different for me. I agree that he's been below par for a long, long time. Ironically, I think the one thing that he needs to get back to his level, and I think he can get back to that level, the one thing he needs is the one thing he's not going to get at Liverpool, which is a run of games. So I think, unfortunately, from that perspective, he would be better off as Joe Gomez, a human, moving on. However, not only is he a centre-back, he is still a right-back cover. We've mentioned Ramsay's on loan, Milner's gone. So he literally is our right-back cover if we're not buying Pavard. And also the English thing. Like, I know people hate saying, oh, God, he's only in the squad because he got a passport. Well, I mean, that's the fucking rules of the league we're playing in. We can't just dismiss it as being unimportant because we don't like it. It's the rules. So that's going to help. That's going to help him in terms of staying within the squad. So I suspect that Matip will be the one that moves on. The question is, though, if Gomez is the one who gets the serious offers. And if you get some serious offers for serious money, then you have the conversation to make, then you go back into the market. But
who's going to buy Joel Matip? That's right. I don't get like usual.
No one. We're living in fantasy land. If we think we're getting money for Joel Matip in this market, in this current day and age, forget about it.
I mean,
guys.
To be fair,
we're going to have to be ruthless, and this is where
we're
going to have to make some hard decisions. And this is where I think we've fallen down in making the hard, ruthless decisions, because Matip needs to be moved on. He won't be sold. He needs to be. You know what I mean by moved on, like.
Just sounds like you're taking. It sounds like you're taking your dog around the back of the shed. Yeah. What I say is that. Sorry.
The other thing as well. It's like the other thing about it is that you need to be replacing him. It can't be a case where he's gone.
For sure.
Because essentially, we say this every summer. Oh yeah, we don't need that guy. We don't need that guy. It's like, well, he's going to be fifth choice. He's going to be fourth choice. And then one injury, two injuries. Suddenly, this guy's expected to play 3 games in a week. So, in some ways, if we're suddenly expected to make our fifth choice centre back play 3 games in a week, I'd rather that guy was Joel Matip than Reece Williams, for example. But by the same token, you're right, Grizz. There needs to be a kind of a, well, I mean, ruthlessness is the word, but it's just more of kind of like an admittance of where we are, where certain players are. And to be honest, this is the summer that those conversations need to be had with quite a few different people around the room. So if that is the case, then maybe we will see it.
I've been told off. I keep interrupting you. Stay. Let's finish. Stop interrupting. I'm so sorry.
That was me. That's me. That's my day in their accounts.
Like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I saw you put the phone away very quickly. I thought, what was he doing? Keep show me your hands. But no. Look, I personally would get rid of both. And I would, maybe not the right way. I would honestly, but we can't. Why can't we see it happening though? This is my frustration.
Well, the other thing as well, I think Klopp himself will not want too much churn and upheaval. I think that's something that he values.
Mo,
probably higher than a lot of us when we're kind of doing this.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Mo. In seasons gone past, in years gone past, and he's proven to do that and not churn out and change. His sentiments and his comments in the last 3-4 months of the season suggest to me, I think he feels different now, Mo. I genuinely think he's fed up or had enough of people letting him down, players letting him down, doctors, recruitment, whatever. I feel as though if it was up to him, and I don't think it's totally up to him, and he's obviously admitted it's not always up to him, I think he's ready for a
it's interesting because the thing as well is it's not just about the numbers going in and out. It's who's going in and out. And I think, obviously, Firmino and Milner in particular and their influence. There's a part of me that feels like Milner's going was always going to need to happen. And the vacuum that he leaves, other people will need to step into it. And it could be great for those people and the making of some of those people. But by the same token, they've both been the biggest security blankets for Klopp at all times of trouble, even at time when we've kind of beyond seeing them as elite players. Klopp still needs those two guys. They still play 100%. More than one else. So how he reacts to not having them anymore is going to be
interesting, fascinating, exciting, and quite a bit level of nervousness. Like Steve said, it's true. It's going into the unknown almost.
Yeah,
for Klopp, because this is an absolute rebuild as far as he's concerned. He is building Liverpool again, starting from scratch, looking for those 30 to 40 million pound Gini, Mane, Salahs all over again. But as Steve says, there's not a lot we can do about it except address every rumor or every signing and then speak on it and give our opinion on it. That's all we can do. Guys, very quickly, I want to touch upon Steven Gerrard, his apparent imminent move to Saudi Arabian team Ettifaq FC. A strange one at this stage of his career. First and foremost, I wanted to just get your very quick opinions and thoughts on it before I reveal something I was told today about it.
You go first, Steve. I'll let you have first back.
I don't think, I'm not sure why he's done it. Well, I am. Just fucking loads of money. But I don't think that rules you out. Listen, Rafa Benitez went to China and came back and managed in the Premier League. You can do it. It doesn't mean anything. He could just be going there, fill your bank account up for a bit, and then come back. He might really just want to see it. Who knows? Like that you'd guess that's the situation. There was talk, he might just not like the jobs that were offered. Leicester and Leeds were the two biggest jobs available in the Championship. There wasn't really too much in the Premier League at the moment that were, obviously he was never going to be Tottenham manager. There wasn't much going on. So if anything, it might just be a way of keeping yourself in the game, because if you're out of management for ages, it's hard to get back in. Those sabbaticals. You don't really come back and you might as well keep your hand in, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But it's listen, financially, it will obviously make a lot of sense. I don't know what they're paying him, but I'm guessing it was a fair few quid. But I've seen a lot of people say, well, that means he can't come back. It doesn't mean that at all.
I don't think so. Yeah, no. I don't think. Yeah, you're right.
You can go fill your boots on something. Did Xavi go to Qatar for a while?
Yeah, exactly.
he's managing Barcelona, so you can do it. What I would say is that Gerrard needs to prove he's a good manager before he gets the big jobs again. I don't think there's anything you can do in Saudi Arabia that proves that. So whenever he does come back, it's probably going to have to be at it,
another Leeds stroke Leicester.
Because he ultimately failed at Aston Villa, and he had massive success at Rangers, and then he failed at Aston Villa. There's nothing he can do in Saudi Arabia. He can win everything, and no one will give a shit. So when his next job will not be the big job, or whatever. I don't know what his plans are, but his next job, he probably will still have to go to a lower end Premier League side or a Championship side to prove his worth before he then gets the job. I think that's my general take on it.
I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. Anytime anyone asks me about Steven Gerrard's management career, he needs to go to somewhere in Europe. He needs to go somewhere that's got a good, passionate fan base, good, decent quality league, a good European prospects. A Fenerbahce, somewhere like that, an Olympiacos, somewhere like that, where they've got European pedigree, but they're still going to be able to go out and learn some things about football. He needs to learn more about what it takes to be a manager. I agree that he's probably not going to learn a massive amount in Saudi, but I can see where this came from. I mean, apparently the president of the team is he's one of his idols. He's like a massive Liverpool fan. He loves Gerrard since he was a kid. So he's obviously laid it on thick for him, said, look, you come here, you'll be worshipped. You will want for nothing. But yeah, football-wise, maybe even he sold him on the changing face of the league. Say, yeah, at the moment, it looks like it's just the older players coming for retirement, but we are going to start to target younger players, and in 6 months' time, it's going to be this and all of that. You can see how he would be sold that vision. I mean, I'd be skeptical because I'm sure they said the same in China when they had the same thing, and in Russia when they had the same thing, and both of those kind of petered out. But by the by. So I see where it's coming from that. I agree with you both, though, that I don't think that him going there is the end of his professional career. There's another thing, and maybe this is just my cynical mind kicking in, right? But the PIF are over there. He's not managing one of their 4 teams. He's just going to be in and around. But he's going to be in and around, and they are going to know of him. So if the PIF are looking to maybe expand their European portfolio in the future, maybe being known to them and doing well in front of them isn't the worst thing in terms of maybe getting a job in the future.
I also think, by the way, money's money. Like, people do things like, I don't blame. I don't blame Karim Benzema for getting 400 million sounds. Of course, like, everyone's got there's a where it's worth doing it. You know what I mean? Like, he might go and fill his boots, and then maybe that he goes, right, I'll go and fill my boots in Saudi Arabia, and then I can have a year where I go around Europe just learning from the best coaches, but I've just filled me. Like, Steven Gerrard's a skint. Don't get me wrong, but you know what I mean? Like, listen, money talks to everybody. Everyone, like, that's just where we're at. And Saudi, I've got unlimited wealth. God knows the contract he's on. So,
well, this is the bit of an exclusive. So, look, it's going to be to the tune of 15 million a year. So his salary offer is 15 million for a year. But when I say not all is lost, because you're right, it's his decision. He makes it. Obviously, him and his family do what they got to do. But apparently, he hasn't signed a contract. He has told the owner, the club, everything that he will decide and tell them by Saturday. So he has not second thoughts or whatever. He wants time to think about it. He's been over. But the salary offer is 15 million per annum, and obviously the promise of players such as Coutinho, Sadio Mane, whoever wants to bring back. Even someone said earlier on in the day, take Gomez and Matip. Give us 100 million for Matip and Gomez, and all will be forgiven. So yeah, that is the state of play with Steven Gerrard. He hasn't registered his children in the sport. Obviously, there's rumors that he's done it all when he signed it and everything's good to go. Saturday, he has asked for a bit of time to think about it, and let's see what happens if he does decide to take that gig or he doesn't. But Steve says, money talks, man.
That's more than that's nearly 300 grand a week, isn't it? Like that. You know,
Exactly.
Virgil van Dijk wasn't earning that to play for Liverpool. Like,
it's difficult. It's difficult. We're sat here, you know, like passing judgments. Yeah, I mean, God, you know what I mean? It's putting that.
No,
position.
you're right. You're right. I mean, I would never assume that I would know how to answer those kind of questions until I'm in that situation. It's like, you know, I have no idea. But you sort of say money talks. Like, money does talk. 15 million a year shouts loud.
Screams.
It's like that fella's chat before. It's in capitals.
Capitals, mate.
Like a megaphone.
Yeah, man, it's loud. 15 big ones is loud.
I guess this segues into Steve. Is Firmino going there? Have we had any confirmation of Firmino yet? No, we haven't, have we?
No.
Nothing. We don't know what his plans are. I mean, that is a strong possibility. If can you imagine Stevie G and Bobby Firmino linking up again? That would be interesting if that was the case to be.
When it was first announced that he wasn't going to sign the contract, the Saudi links were huge.
Huge, weren't they?
I wouldn't be shocked if he ended up there. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, I think that's probably the odds-on favour at this moment in time. I would guess that. For me, I think that's what he will do.
I think in terms of football status, I think he'll get better offers than Stevie has.
Yeah.
But again, it really does depend upon what he's prioritizing. Like, I don't know, I'm not off the top of my head what age his kids are at, but maybe he's thinking of somewhere where they can go to school, see out their schooling life, settle for 3 to 4, maybe 5 years, and then move on. So whether that means he wants to go closer to home, whether he thinks maybe a kind of a warmer European country, or whether that's Saudi, we don't know. But I do think that that's kind of going to be his motivation. He's still good enough to play top-level football. So if, for example, the rumours about one of the top Spanish clubs coming in for him are true, then I think he would definitely consider that. But like you say, at the same time, if you decide to move over there, then you can clearly understand it and see where it comes from as well.
My cough's about to start because this fruit shoot that I had beforehand, or a couple of fruit shoots, I should say, are having their effect. But before we do go, Steve, how's Redmen TV going? How's things? I think you wanted to promote something and talk about something, so go for it.
Oh man, mate. Well, speaking of Firmino, we've got a documentary. I know Liverpool are doing their own one. Obviously, of course, we've done one as well. We sent people to Hoffenheim. We've done a bit. Spoke to people who knew him when he was a kid. His first club, Fluminense, whose name I struggle to say. We've had Anderson, Rush, Lallana. So yeah, our Bobby Firmino documentary comes out on the 23rd of June. The first one will be free on YouTube. Liverpool are making you buy Liverpool LFC TV, by the way. We're not. We're giving it away. And the second one is behind the paywall. But I said to you, Grizz, if you didn't mind, if I want to do an offer for your viewers. So if anyone wants to sign up to Redmen Plus and get all the extra content, enter the code Grizz and you'll get 50% off. So sign up on the monthly subscription, use the code Grizz and you'll get 50% off for 3 months. So if you're
50% off, I mean that is quite a substantial discount.
So instead of paying $5 a month, they'll pay $250 a month for 3 months. So
make the most of it.
Like I'd say that values you quite well, to be fair, mate.
I'm telling you, £2.50 a month for 3 months, and all you've got to type in is my name. I mean, that is.
You get the Bobby doc, mate. Honestly, there's more to. I can't say too much now, but like, we've had the people who signed him, the people who scouted him for Hoffenheim. Some of his old Hoffenheim teammates, they've all spoke about him as well. It is really, really cool. Obviously, I know Liverpool are doing their version. It's a bit different. They're focusing more on the Liverpool stuff. We've gone back a little bit, so it is. Yeah. I am looking forward to that coming out. So yeah, just thought again. As a thank you for inviting me on the show. If anyone wants to go and sign up, then feel free.
Check it out, people. Any more further questions, then my DMs are open. Contact Steers, or if you want any more information out of it. But as he says, 50% off if you type in Grizz. What more do you want? £2.50 a month. It works out. And that documentary, you know it's going to be good. It's Bobby Firmino. Mo, you're doing fantastic work as well. What have you got planned? Give us a plug for some of the stuff.
Well, I'd say most of the cool stuff that I've got planned coming up is in my other world of music as well.
Talk to us.
So I've got a podcast of my own about DJing, because that's the other thing that I do, called the View from the Big podcast. We've got a few of them out. We've got another episode coming out on Thursday We're going to be having a little bit of a preview of that on BBC Radio Merseyside on Friday, so that's really cool. And we're going to be recording some stuff at Glastonbury Festival this year because I have managed to blag myself a set. Thank you.
Love it.
Yes, I will be playing at the Village Inn on Thursday evening at 8 o'clock. The Village Inn is the one just across from the Pyramid Stage. If you know where the cider bus used to be, you're in the right kind of area. So I'll be there. I'll be playing 1 hour of pure bangers, as if anyone would expect.
Only bangers.
So yeah, if you're on site, by all means, come down and have a big party with us. As I say, I'm going to be out there with my microphone, recording bits of the pod, speaking to other DJs as well. So it's going to be a big culture fest down there. And yeah, obviously, I'm still doing stuff with the Anfield Wrap. We're in our transfer season, as we all well know. So I'm still going to be doing plenty of stuff with them over the course of the summer. Some things non-football related as well. So if any of you guys are maybe a little bit sick or maybe just need a little bit of a football
Some
break,
of the ones that you guys were referring to that are not too fond of transfers.
Yes, exactly. Those kind of people. I mean, there aren't too many of them here, obviously. But anyone who's a big fan of cricket, for example, anyone who's a big fan of golf, anyone's a big fan of
Love
baseball,
it, me as well.
NBA, athletics.
Us three should do a cricket pod. I love cricket. And I know you love cricket. I know you love cricket.
Mate, I'm in. I'd rather do that. I fucking Liverpool.
Collapse the other day. Did you see that collapse the other day? India, Australia, all set for a brilliant ending, and then all it took was a couple of hours to collapse. Wow.
Man,
the season started off with a bang.
Unfortunately, I saw that coming. You know what? We should definitely do a World Cup pod this year. I know we talked about it last time.
100%.
We need to get that on the road.
Oh my God!
So if you're into all that, then look up for the AFS show on the Anfield Wrap. That's my show where we'll be doing that. We've got a few more European season reviews coming out as well, which I'm in charge of. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff happening.
Excellent. For your Virgil was going Glastonbury, make sure you go check out Mo. Make sure you subscribe.
I'm on the app as well under the Mighty Mojo. So that's my DJ name. So that's why.
Check it out, people. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Me, Grizz, enjoy New York, my brother. As you guys may know or not know, we're flying out to New York next Tuesday. The Big Six are going out on courtesy of Fox Sports. So I'm looking forward to that. That's my little break. Well, I say break, but it's semi-work. So yeah, that should be interesting. Make sure you check out the content that we're going to be creating over there with the Fox Sports team. And apart from that, just every week, new transfers, new shows, new talks. Yeah, I'll try to bring on goats like Stian and Mo as much as I can, but these are very, very busy people. So be patient.
It's fucking normal time, mate.
This is normal. It's still high outside. It's summer. What is it? I'm not going to ask you winter. Yeah, no. Do you know what? He gets confused. It's not the timing. It's the darkness. Like he's like. So I'm going to ask him in the summer when it's still light, and to him it's going to be like, oh, it's still early. Yeah, I'll do a show. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what it is with him, but. It is what it is. People love the comments, love the chat. You've all been, 95% of you been very respectful. And that's all we ask for. Agree with us, disagree with us, argue with us, hate our opinions, but be respectful. We'll never all agree. That is all part and parcel of it. But all we ask for is respect because we don't really abuse any of you. Like I could be sat here pointing out you in the comment and chat. I don't because I respect your opinion and we listen to your opinions. But this has been another Transfer Khanage. We're hoping to bring in another player, hopefully this week, if not the following week. Liverpool need to act fast, and we need to get off this stream fast as well. So over and out. Take care, people. Bye-bye.